Running backs in the National Football League don't last long. The position is a meat grinder. Constant hits, brutal collisions, and career-ending injuries. The numbers prove it. The average running back is done in just 2.5 years. Most never see a second contract. But Frank Gore wasn't like most. He didn't just outlast the clock, he smashed it. 16 seasons, over 16,000 rushing yards. This is the story of a man who broke the system. The one running back who proved he could take the punishment and keep going. The NFL's true Ironman. The legend of Frank Gore's impossible durability begins, ironically, with a body that seemed broken beyond repair. Coming out of Coral Gables, Florida, Gore was an undeniable force of nature. As a high school senior, he set records by rushing for over 2,900 yards and 34 touchdowns. He arrived at the University of Miami as one of the most highly regarded recruits in the country and immediately lived up to the hype. As a true freshman on a national championship winning team, he was the backup to future Pro Bowler Clinton Portis, yet still rushed for over 560 yards, averaging around 9 yards per carry. But his college career was also a horror story of injuries. During spring practice in 2002, he tore the ACL in his left knee and missed the entire season. He battled back. In 2003, he became the first running back in Miami history to open a season with 3 consecutive 100-yard rushing games. Then, just 5 games into the season, disaster struck again. He tore the ACL in his right knee, ending another season prematurely. In the cold, calculated world of the NFL draft, Gore was a flashing red light. Teams didn't just see a risk, they saw damaged goods, with at least half the teams in the league reportedly rejecting him based on his injury history. They saw a player whose body might not survive a single training camp, let alone a 16-game season. So he fell. Round 1 came and went, then round 2, as 5 other running backs were selected ahead of him. Finally, deep in the 3rd round, the San Francisco 49ers decided to roll the dice, selecting him with the 65th overall pick in the 2005 NFL Draft. From his very first snap, Gore's career was a mission to prove the entire world wrong. A running back with 2 surgically repaired knees shouldn't be able to last. The solution, however, was something no one could see coming. It wasn't just his legendary toughness, it was his completely unique, almost artistic running style. Gore was never the fastest back on the field, and he wasn't a thundering bruiser in the traditional sense. His genius was quieter, more subtle. It was in his supernatural vision, his unbelievable patience, and his gift for finding a crease the size of a keyhole and turning it into positive yards. He ran low to the ground with a strange, offbeat rhythm that made him impossible to line up for a clean, devastating hit, while other star running backs lived on explosive 80-yard runs that ended in equally explosive, career-altering collisions. Gore's genius was in the grind. He was the master of the 4-yard run, the unforgotten play that doesn't make the highlight reels, but it moves the change. It breaks a defense's will, and most importantly, it keeps a running back on the field. For 10 seasons in San Francisco, Frank Gore was more than just a player. He was the entire organization's centerpiece. Quarterbacks came and went, coaching staffs were fired and hired, but Gore was the one constant. He was the engine, the identity, and the undisputed, unquestioned heart of the 49ers. He didn't just play for them, he carried them, eventually becoming the franchise all-time leading rusher, a record he holds today by a wide margin. During his prime, the numbers he put up were staggering. He rattled off 9 seasons with over 1,000 rushing yards, putting his name alongside legends like Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton, and Barry Sanders. He was selected to 5 Pro Bowls and was named to the NFL's All-Decade team for the 2010s, cementing his place as one of the defining players of his era. But to truly understand Gore's greatness, you have to dig deeper. The one number that truly tells the story, the statistic that separates him from everyone else. Frank Gore is the only player in the history of the NFL to record 12 consecutive seasons with at least 1,200 yards from scrimmage. Let that sink in. Not Emmitt Smith, the all-time rushing king, not the great Walter Payton, not the electric Barry Sanders, not even the immortal Jerry Rice, only Frank Gore. For 12 straight years, with a revolving door of teammates, play callers, and offensive linemen, you could write Frank Gore down for 1,200 total yards before the season even started. It was the closest sure thing the NFL has ever had to statistical greatness. His time in San Francisco cemented him as a great player, but what he did next would make him immortal. When Frank Gore and the 49ers parted ways after the 2014 season, he was 31 years old. In running back years, that's not just old, it's ancient. That's the age when the phone is supposed to stop ringing. For Frank Gore, it was merely the beginning of his next chapter. He became a modern-day journeyman. He went to the Indianapolis Colts, then the Miami Dolphins, then the Buffalo Bills, and even the New York Jets. He was the living, breathing insurance policy for any team that needed a reliable presence in the backfield. And everywhere he went, he did the only thing he knew how to do. He defied age. It's not just that running backs decline after the age of 30. Their production falls off a cliff. Gore's production simply refused to die. He played in 241 career games, the most ever by a running back in the history of the sport. He didn't just outlast his own draft class, he outlasted entire generations of players. A running back who entered the league the same year as Gore could have played their entire average career, retired, waited 6 full years, and still turned on the TV to see Frank Gore taking a handoff. His production after 30 is the most impressive part of his entire resume. Most backs are lucky enough to have one productive season after their 30th birthday. Gore ran for over 6,600 yards after turning 30, a mark that would be a fantastic career for most players. He didn't limp to the finish line, he sprinted through it, carrying the ball a career high 26 times in a single game for the Colts during a blizzard, at 34 years old. Then, at age 36 with the Buffalo Bills, he became just the 4th player in history to run for 15,000 yards. The sheer volume is simply mind-bending. When the journey was finally over, Frank Gore signed a one-day contract in 2022 to retire where he belonged, as a member of the San Francisco 49ers, the team that took a gamble on the injury-prone kid from Miami. He was never the flashiest player. For most of his career, he was never even in the conversation for the best running back in the league. He never won a rushing title, and he was never a first-team All-Pro. But that entire argument misses the point of Frank Gore. His legacy isn't about having the highest peak. It's about building a plateau of sustained excellence so long and so wide that no one thought it was possible. His greatness wasn't found in the highlight reel explosion. It was found in the unrelenting, unstoppable, eternal grit. Frank Gore has been inducted into the 49ers Hall of Fame in 2024. He becomes eligible for the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2026, where his case will spark a conversation about what truly defines greatness. But that debate feels like a formality. You cannot tell the complete story of the National Football League without him. You can't look at the all-time record books and ignore his name, sitting there comfortably beside the greats of the game. He is a statistical anomaly, a medical miracle, and the ultimate proof of the power of showing up every single Sunday for 16 years. He was the Ironman, and the numbers are proof. Frank Gore played longer, harder, and more consistently than almost any running back we've ever seen. But the big question is, does that make him a Hall of Famer in your eyes? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear where you stand on Gore's legacy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.